Well, I was one of those people that had perhaps unrealistically high expectations of our world leaders, and therefore I was bitterly disappointed with what they came out with. I think they were not able to rise above their narrow national domestic interests and rise to the occasion to deal with the global problem. Uh, on the other hand, since then, I've regained my natural optimism, and I do think that there are a number of very positive outcomes from Copenhagen, not necessarily what the leaders agreed into on three pages of paper, but in terms of the much larger mobilization that Copenhagen engendered and catalyzed across the world, particularly in developing countries where I do most of my work. The level of awareness of this issue has gone up. The engagement of heads of state on this issue is a very good thing. They have now all gone back home thinking climate change is important and they need to engage with it, which was not true before they went to Copenhagen. So those are positives that we can now build on going forward. Well, I do a lot of work with the most vulnerable countries, namely the least developed countries, countries like Bangladesh. And I think for them, Copenhagen has actually been good, because one of the consensus views that has come up is the need for the vulnerable countries to be assisted on adaptation. There was no controversy about it. The question was how much money would be available. We do now have a global figure for money, $30 billion for the next 3 years, and then $100 billion a year going forward from 2020. So this is a good sign. The challenge now is for these countries to start getting their act together in terms of what they want to do with that kind of international funds, ensure that they use it properly, ensure that they have a strategy and a plan to do so, and ensure that it's done in a transparent manner that everybody can then see and benefit from. And that's a big challenge for these countries. Some of them are moving forward quite a lot. In fact, Bangladesh is probably one of the ones that are a step or two ahead of the others. Well, the biggest global challenge, and I think this is now an accepted phenomenon, is that we need to transition at the global level into a new era which is both a low carbon development path as well as a climate resilient one. Every single country is going to have to do both. Some will have to do more on the mitigation and less on the adaptation, and others will have to do more on the adaptation and less on the mitigation. But everyone has to do both if we want to solve this problem in the coming decade or two that we have available to us. And so the challenge is, how do we do it? Nobody really has all the answers. Everybody needs to be trying to do that. We have to ramp up our knowledge, our capacities, experiment with different activities at different countries, and share that information in real time with each other. It's a big challenge, but I think the pieces are in place for everybody now to move to trying to do something rather than argue about whether we should do something.